Welcome to PrepsNet Coach Speak with Mortimer Jordan head baseball coach Shayne Carnes. Here's your host, Aubrey Johnson.
Welcome back, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so it's been a couple of weeks since we last spoke. You've had a number of games, and you've had some mixed results during that time. So let's talk about those games real quick.
All right.
You had two games, one on the 8th and one on the 11th, both with Coleman. One was at Coleman, which you lost 2-4, and then the other one was here against Coleman, and you won that one 2-1. Both area games. Tell us about them.
So the game at Coleman, obviously Coleman has had a storied history with baseball,
Right.
and they've been very solid. Again, had a good team this year. I felt like we competed really well in the game. We had several opportunities during that game to, you're a hit away with the bases loaded of,
Yes, you are.
Making a major impact in the game. And we just didn't get that hit. And some of that is credit to their pitchers, and some of it is probably we could have had a little bit better of it at bat. But at the end of the day, we had our opportunities at the plate. I felt like we competed well. We left guys stranded on base several innings out of the day, and that was frustrating. But the effort was there. It was, a really, really good ball game. They were supposed to come back and play us in a doubleheader on Thursday. We had weather, and their school system let out early, so we had to cancel that game. And so we ended up playing on Friday, just playing one. And Tanner Rice pitched for us and threw a great game. Was able to locate a fastball pretty much wherever he wanted it.
Nice.
Did a good job with his breaking ball, and changeup was really, really good. And good. Coleman's got some good hitters, and one especially from the left side, so the changeup was really important that day, and with it being on, we got some rollover ground balls. And all in all, defensively, we played pretty well. Our outfielder, left fielder and center fielder in specific, made some really nice plays in that game, and it's a 2-1 ball game. It was a fun one to be a part of.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
But good, you came out with the W.
That's right.
Good deal. So then on the 14th, you played Pinson Valley. The Indians really kind of took it to you there. It was 8-16. But then you followed that up with a game against Moody at home, and you beat them 6-3. Talk to us about that one.
So the game against Moody, we give up 3 in the first. Pitcher left a couple of balls in the center of the zone. We made a couple of errors. It was just a combination of bad baseball. We kind of got that turned around. Next thing is 3-1, and then we get a bunt when it's 3-2 to tie the game up, a little safety squeeze, and they don't make a play on it. And the next thing you know, it's 4-3, it's 5-3, and the pitchers that night, was Jeremiah Tingle. He started it, and then Tanner Rice came in, and then we had brought a 9th grader up, Cooper Taylor, and he came in and threw 2 innings of scoreless relief, so that was really good. And then Jackson Woodruff finished it out. So it was a good night. Obviously, for that being the last regular season home game, that was a good one to win, to have that momentum going into the playoffs. So
good deal. So then you had, it looks like a doubleheader with Buckhorn. Is that
First
right?
round, yes,
yeah.
sir.
So you lost the first one 4-7, and unfortunately you lost the second one 3-17. Tell us about those two games.
So going to Buckhorn and playing up there, obviously that's for those in the baseball world, that's a tough environment to play in. Anytime you go on the road at this level, it's hard to play. It's a tough environment. I felt like we were well prepared for it. In game one, it was, strike zone was rather large, but it was very consistent for both sides. So there's, not really a lot you can say about that. I thought our kids competed at the plate. Once again, we had runners on base, and we had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and we never did get that big hit. We made an error in the 5th inning with us down a run, and making that error got one more guy to the plate, and the guy ended up hitting a 2-run home run. So I won't say that put the game away, but it did give them a big advantage right there in that moment, just momentum-wise. But even into the 7th inning, we had runners on base, and you feel like if you could just get that one hit, you know, you're about to tie the game up, and then you got a chance to take the lead and still win. So game 2 was not good for us. You know, guys that we have counted on the mound all year long just didn't have their best stuff that night. Now
it happens.
Yeah, it does. Strike zone was exactly the opposite of game 1.
Wow.
First game 1 we felt like it was chalk to chalk. Game 2 felt like it was, you know, a lot smaller.
Very tight.
And so we were having to throw the ball in the center of the plate, and they got some good hitters. You know, and so it was just not a great combination. And then defensively, could be one of our worst games we played of the year. Just didn't catch the ball, gave them extra outs. Just not a good, you know, not a good game right there, and not indicative of the talent level of the team that we had this year either. So
Gotcha.
That was a little bit frustrating, but I will say this, through both games and all that, the kids played hard.
Good.
They fought, they didn't quit, and so there's a lot to be said for that. So proud of them for their efforts.
Good deal. So there's more Mortimer Jordan baseball to talk about, but we'll take a break right here.
PrepsNet Coach Speak with Mortimer Jordan High School head baseball coach Shayne Carnes is proudly sponsored by Canvas Traditions. Go Blue Devils!
And we're back. So, Coach, you finished the season 17-18. I'm sure you would have liked to have had a better outcome, but you had a good team this year. Tell us a little more about the team, maybe some stories that we haven't heard before.
All right, so 17-18, you know, and I tell the kids all the time, there's probably 5 or 6 games on our schedule. Had we played just a little bit better, or maybe the ball bounces our way, there are 5 or 6 games we could have won. And I'm not going to say we gave them away, but those were very winnable games. And, you know, if you add those 5 wins and you take 5 losses away, now you're sitting there 22-13, and everybody feels a whole lot better. But like I explained to the kids, you know, baseball's that game of inches, and those margins are thin, and, you know, that's why we really try to focus on doing the little things well. As far as the team this year, an absolutely fantastic group of kids. Didn't have discipline issues off the field. Didn't have discipline issues in the school. I think, you know, the biggest issue we really had is maybe a kid with a few too many tardies. And obviously we're going to handle it on our end, but that's not a big deal. But no discipline issues there. I felt like we had some great leadership from our older players. I felt like they were great role models for our younger players. I feel like that the kids were bought into what we were trying to do, to what we were teaching them, what we were asking them to do. And, you know, just every day they showed up ready to get after it. And I never felt like when we went into a game that we looked in the other dugout and were intimidated by who we were playing.
Good.
And, you know, that's always something you kind of, you know, with each group, you wonder how they're going to, you know, how they're going to approach the game, how they're going to approach the season. And these kids just went out and competed. Now, we didn't always win, and it wasn't always great, but the one thing that we really preach is to never quit. And they didn't, and they fought to the very end, and could not be more proud of them for their efforts this year.
Talk to us about this group of seniors. You mentioned the leadership. Tell us about the senior group and what they've meant to you this year.
I mean, they've meant a lot. I mean, these kids, I've known a lot of them since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, I have a son that goes to school here that's around their age, and so our interaction started a while back. So to watch them come in as 9th graders and see the maturity level not be where you want it to be, and then you see them year after year after year, and then now all of a sudden here they come in, and I always say you come in as an immature 9th grader and you leave as a mature young man. And I really feel like this senior group, they're leaving as mature young men. I think they have a chance to be very successful in life. I think they have a chance to be good husbands, good fathers, and good members of society. And the one thing that I hope is throughout their 4 years here, they've learned a little bit about what structure is, what discipline is, what it is to be held accountable. Hopefully our coaching staff has modeled to them what being a good husband looks like, what being a good father looks like. You know, we talk to them, and I talk to them all the time, you know, as a parent, you're never going to get everything right, you know, but the biggest thing that we stress to them is when you have a wife and you have children is that you show up on a day-to-day basis. And,
yes, you do.
And be present with them in their life and be involved in what they're doing. And so my hope is that this senior class, as they leave and this chapter ends for them and the next chapter opens and they embark on this world of adulthood, I hope they're able to take those lessons that they learned with us along with what they've learned from their parents and their families. And I hope down the road, once they have children of their own, that the things that we taught them there about the game of baseball, that they can pass on to their children. So,
absolutely.
You know, as far as this class goes, like I said, we're going to miss them. They're great people. They're good baseball players, and they mean a lot to me just personally from that regard. So, you had asked me earlier about a funny story. We went to the beach this year to play baseball. Had a real good time. Had a little team dinner on Sunday, and then we went and had a little pickleball tournament.
Oh,
and, you know, I found out real quick those who probably are not as coordinated as you would hope they would be, and then two kids in particular, the two that won the tournament, they spend a little bit too much time on the pickleball court. We got to get them in the cage a few more hours.
Right. So, there you go.
That was a good trip. You know, I guess lastly, this senior class, and I got, you know, just a little bit of stuff for them. Over the last 4 years, they compiled a record of 85 and 61. That's a 582 win percentage.
Right.
We claimed 3 area championships, an area runner-up, and 4 straight playoff appearances. So, you know, we had a lot of success during their time here, and you know, we're going to wish them well moving forward.
Good. So you're losing what, 10 seniors?
10 seniors.
So how does that affect the makeup of the 2026 team? Tell us about that one.
Well, we're going to have some guys. We had several underclassmen that start for us this year. We started, our senior catcher got hurt, and so we ended up starting a freshman, and he got hurt, and then we started a sophomore, and then that was kind of a rotating, you know, revolving door a little bit. We started a junior at first base, a junior at second base, a sophomore at third. At the end of the year, we had a junior starting in left, we had a junior starting in center, and a senior in right. So we've got a lot of guys that are going to be returning with a lot of experience. And so we feel like that this group coming back for the 2026 season has a chance to have some success. You know, like we told them in our exit meetings, that's going to be dependent upon the amount of work that they put in the off season.
Absolutely.
Not only through travel ball, but also getting in the weight room and getting stronger, and you know, working on their coordination, their footwork, and becoming more athletic to help them be a more dynamic player. So we really feel like with that group coming back, you know, we lose Jeremiah Tinkle, who was our 1 this year. Tanner Rice was our 2, and he's a sophomore, so he'll be a junior next year. And then we got some young kids that we think, you know, over the next year we hope to develop, and we hope they develop physically. And if they do, I think we got to have a chance to have a pretty good pitching staff. And, you know, we're returning our reliever, closer / you know, do-it-all pitcher, Jackson Woodruff. He finished the year with like a 1.3 ERA. 38 innings. And just, you know, you talk about a kid who goes out when the game's on the line and just competes his tail off. He's a lot of fun to watch, and he's fun to pull for because of the type of kid he is. And so he's coming back, and like we really feel like we have a chance to have a pretty solid team.
Got a nice makeup.
Well, you take all these juniors and you put another year on them, and then every year there's always a surprise. You always have a young kid that steps up, and
and you want that,
and plays well, and it's like somebody you wasn't counting on. So like I said, you know, I think we have a chance to have a decent squad next year, and you know, maybe get a few more wins than we got this year.
Okay. Well, Coach, that's our final show. We certainly appreciate you joining us week in and week out, and hopefully we can do this again next year.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming out and talking to us and showcasing our baseball team and our school.
Absolutely. And we want to thank you out in the audience for supporting Mortimer Jordan Baseball. You can join us on PrepsNet.com for all of your high school sports news and information. Thanks for watching.